Hi guys, this is Joel with Guitars United. Today we are at the Summer NAMM booth in Music City Center here, and I've got a star crowd here, and I wasn't expecting this, but this young lady over here, Carolyn. Carol, come here.
Please.
Come on here, say hello to everybody. So anyway, she was really cool. She said, hey, come back, I'll get Richard for you, we'll do this, we'll sit down, and we'll have fun. And so anyways, I had a story that did not turn out the way I wanted it to be with Richard. Of course, I caught him off guard. If he had a few minutes to think about it, we probably could have made a funny story. But anyways, Richard, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Pleasure, Joel.
And so how did you start this? You said you took apart guitars back in the 60s?
First, I don't go anywhere without my posse, so thanks for letting the gang in on this interview.
World class.
It is indeed. These guys are iconic. Very cool. I love everything about guitar, and I was sitting one time thinking about the fact that somebody makes guitars. I was playing my guitar, and I was waiting for my girlfriend to come home, who I got, of course, by playing guitar. and I went, somebody makes these. I wonder what that's like. And so I took that apart to figure it out. It was a beautiful harmony, all mahogany OM style guitar. And with that, my mother, who had of course participated in buying that guitar, insisted that I learn how to put it together. So she was a reference librarian, which was the Google of the day. Before the internet, she's who you went to. And she got me all the books on string instrument making, and there was none on guitar. They were all violin. So that was the beginning of my career in guitar maker, is studying the violin.
You mean you didn't have the internet?
Internet's a beautiful thing, and we've contributed a lot to that fact of making accessible how to build guitars.
Sure.
And it's a really nice thing. Our trade secrets are time and expertise. So even though the information is all accessible, it still helps to practice.
Yeah. So what do you think made you guys get into the top 10 or top 5 of these custom luthiers?
Well, being the first helped. Now I say being the first is a little misleading, because people like Jean Larrivée, Michael Gurian, Mark Whitebrook, there was guys that did this before us, but it was way ahead of the curve. And most people starting out were trying to be the next Martin. Our idea was truly to take the art of the violin maker and do it as a team, do it as 1, 2, or 3 people. And we held to our origins with that, and from the very beginning we're a custom shop. We make guitars for the way people that would like them to sound, rather than making people like to buy our sound with that. So we kept true to our goal, and of modern makers, Dana gives us the credit of bringing lutherie to the music store. Being the first ones that actually brought handmade guitars to the dealers. So we're 40 years old next year.
That is so cool.
So we were allowed to make all the mistakes before anybody else. It was a really good chance of success.
That is so cool. That's so cool. Let's see, what other good questions can I ask the master here? I'm looking around the room here. There's Tom Bedell over there. There's a bunch of cool people around here.
It is very, very cool.
Hey,
Thanks,
Joe. Is there anything you want to ask Dana?
Yeah, I do.
There you go, Dana.
Dana, how do you do that dang deal you do?
Which one?
Dana, thanks, buddy. Dana is a long-time compadre. Not old, but long-time compadre. And Dana is one of the few guys that really gets it. Seriously, Dana knows how to manipulate wood rather than assembling dimensions, and he understands how guitars work and how they sound. Thank God we have a different idea of what kind of sound we should get in our guitars, so we both have a place in the market with that. But Dana's a national treasure. He's a delight to work with, and he's also one of the ones that realize is that there's no secrets in guitar making. It really is time and expertise. So we can, by sharing information with each other and others, we just get stronger and smarter with it. So he's a good teammate. Yeah.
I love it. Sharing, it definitely is the best way to go.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who've been sharing for a good number of decades now. And I mean, I didn't invent everything I do. You know, I picked it up from a lot of people who were willing to share it with me. So
I told Joel that one of our advantages is we got to make all the mistakes before other people did.
yeah, exactly.
And not to derail your interview, I was just thinking of Walter Lipton the other day, and the first panel we sat on an interview where he was the guy, and we were both nervous following him.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Dana, was there any questions you wanted to ask Richard about any of his things in the past that you had questions about you never asked him?
Boy.
Nobody knows about that. Don't bring it up now.
Okay.
We're getting down dirty here.
Your secrets. No, I just kind of wanted to sort of keep sort of going back to the topic of sharing information. It was really kind of interesting. It seems like there's a whole generation of builders, you know, who got interested at around the same time, and you know,
60s?
It was really 70s.
70s.
You know, more than, I mean, the guys in the 60s were the real pioneers, you know, and unfortunately, most of them aren't around, or at least not still in business. I mean, I know a few. Walter Lipton's one of them, I guess.
Or had to get real jobs because
because the market wasn't there to support them.
That's correct.
You know, and we came along at just the right time. I think. You know, you could rent an apartment for $300 a month. You know, and do a fret job for $100 a month. Yeah, well, in Maine you could. In other words, living was cheap. There was a huge market of guitar players. You know, our generation grew up. I tell my kids that the guitar was my video game. You know, and
That makes sense.
And so there's a built-in market, and
Do 3 fret jobs, your rent's paid.
yeah, exactly.
And we both married up.
We both married up. What I was going to say was to echo what Richard said. You could do mediocre work and get by because where the bar was. You know. Now this guy has a guitar school. You know, you can go to school.
Brian Gallup.
You can go to school to learn to build guitars. The guys coming out of these schools know so much more. I mean, it took 10 years to figure out all of the stuff, you know.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and so I was just saying that back in the old days, there was no competition. You could do mediocre work, you know.
The fact that you could make a guitar opened doors.
Yeah, exactly.
That you'd made a guitar, yeah.
And someone would say, "Hey, that's cool. I'll buy it." Now the level is very, very high, and
We all got corrected vision.
We all got corrected. Well, it kind of has to.
Who said that?
That's why the school started alone. I kept seeing really crappy work. And if I see another messed up bar, I think I'm going to shoot myself, you know. So finally, the guys started coming down to the shop asking for apprenticeships. And then the school just kind of took off from there. And the level is really high. It's just not our school. You have a good old band. You have a lot of shorter programs. And like you said, programs starting up in Europe, right? Or Sweden. So that's like that. So the level is really high. Just go on the internet or go to a guitar show and look at the level of work now.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. Everything looks good.
Yeah. Computers, lasers, spray booths are amazing. Types of finishes, curing processes, humidification systems on factories themselves. We're seeing
And
a lot.
the internet.
Yeah, the internet's sharing. Definitely.
Yeah, the level's high and the quality of people that are coming out, they're really bright these days. And no, you can't get away with murder like you used to.
No mediocre.
Yeah, the song and dance.
You
things
can't
are-
learn on your customers, yeah.
yeah.
Let me
Those guys.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, but those guys have to compete with us. You know, coming out of guitar school,
Or go work with you.
Yeah.
which is what they do.
What do you do? Like take 20 guys and then choose one if they're lucky?
It's not quite that ratio, but you know.
How does that normally work, Brian? How does somebody come out of your school and get a job at a factory?
Well, in the first place, I don't offer job placement, and I would never want to get into that.
Well, you can't teach passion.
Well, there's a lot more to it. If someone comes out of a school like mine, and like we were joking about the bar being higher, but they just don't have the balance like these guys have. You know, they have years of doing it. And when I choose somebody for a position, they'll say like, hey, someone would say, I want to go to Dana's. And I'll say, I can't tell you how much I don't think you guys are going to get along. It's just, you're not Dana material. You're not Downs or Sailor
Good
Moon.
service.
But
Great
I'll
service.
say, when I see someone that all of a sudden I know they have the passion and they're good, I go, man, you're going to fit out in Dana's shop really well. That's when I know I can make
snow.
If you like snow, that's when I know that it's going to be a good mix. Because the bottom line,
And if you surf,
Are you know surfing?
We have to be on the left coast. We may even be in the water at any moment.
That's all. That's
but
so
I was
funny.
going to say the bottom line is if you send someone out somewhere, they move out there and they last 4 months, you're not doing anybody
Yeah.
any favors. That's
yeah,
kind
4
of
months is a waste of time.
for everybody.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. So it's a tough gig. You just kind of pick and choose.
Yeah.
See what's going on.
I'd love to tell you what our criteria is for choosing somebody, but first I wanted to introduce the other guy in the frame,
Tom.
Tom Ellis, who makes the best mandolin in the world.
Hey, Tom, hold it close, buddy.
I didn't mean to kick you out, Brian. Okay.
He wants to talk to you about what
first-
got you into doing. Yeah, go ahead.
First, I wanted to introduce Tom. I said Tom makes the best F5 style mandolin in the world. I'm proud to know him. But Tom also is an inlay artist and supplies inlays for most important makers around the world. And yeah, I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that didn't. And if somebody didn't, it was Tom's choice, not theirs.
Tom, what got you into that, buddy?
Well, I graduated from college in 1975 and decided that I wanted to go into business building mandolins just because I loved the mandolin. And I was a builder of everything when I was a kid and decided to build one and then hang my shingle and start. And I did pretty good. I took my first mandolin to my first festival and showed it to Ricky Skaggs, and he ordered 2 of them. Wow. And so he endorsed me for 20 years.
Wow.
And I was a custom builder of mandolins and banjos up until the late 80s. It got tough. I shared my shop with Bill Collins, so he worked with me from 80 to 86, custom building guitars while I custom built mandolins. We
Thanks
didn't
for
really
your
do
service.
anything together, except I did all of his inlay work. In the early 90s, Bill started his business, Collins Guitar Company, and I started cutting inlays for him because I was good at cutting inlays. Started cutting them by hand, and then I got a pantograph machine and started pantographing them. And then I went ahead in 93, bit the bullet and bought my first CNC machine for $16,000, which was a lot of money at the time.
Yes, sir.
And
That's like a business
I made
decision.
$16,000 worth of parts on it after about 3 months, and realized that, a couple of more months I
This
could
is
buy my
good
second
math.
machine. And so I was kind of off and running. I was the second guy into the Pearl inlay business, and Larry Seifel at Pearl Works up in Maryland was the first guy to do CNC inlay. He and I were good friends. I was buying my shell from him when I was a custom inlay artist. And he threw me a lot of customers. I started out with Collings, went to my first NAMM show and talked with everyone. Got a whole lot of no thank yous, or thank you but no thanks. Nice to meet you, nice to know of you. And then about a month later, Taylor called and apologized for lying to me at the show.
Really?
And in reality, they weren't being well taken care of, and they were interested and did need my services. And also picked up Deering banjo. So I had Taylor, Collings, and Deering, and as well as many others, and probably started cutting Deering lays everybody's about that same time, early 90s, and have picked it up. A couple of years later, started doing work for Gibson, and so we do all of the acoustic side of Gibson.
Really? That's a hell of a career.
So
That's only one of his
2004,
careers.
I had learned a whole lot about manufacturing of instruments that I didn't know in the 80s, that nobody did. And I started thinking about building mandolins again. it was pretty hopping. It was a going thing. And so I dived in, hired the best guy in the world to set up the programming systems for me. And he worked for me for 11 years until he left to go work for Richard. But it was great, and he set up a really good manufacturing system, probably the most high-tech mandolin manufacturing system that exists, though we utilize it to custom build instruments one at a time. But there's 2 of us, and we produced 101 mandolins last year, so we got it down pretty good.
That's awesome.
And we're not losing money, though the inlay side of the business is still 80% of the business.
Really?
But the mandolin side is what keeps me busy. And so here I am, and it's still going.
If you weren't busy, you'd only make 100, and now you make 50.5.
I'll tell you a funny story just real quick.
Yeah.
It's a true story about a Mexican artist. He was really, really great. And a friend of mine was his American rep. And he would meet him down in Laredo once a year. And the guy would deliver 12 paintings. And he was getting $600 a piece for it. A fortune. And the guy was taking them up to New York and selling them in a gallery for like $12,000.
Huh.
And he called the guy in Mexico and told him, I've got great news for you. I'm going to pay you not $600 a painting, but I'm going to pay you $1,200 a painting. And the silence on the other end of the line, and he said, wow, I only have to do 6 a year?
There's a guy who knows his priorities. That's beautiful.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joel.
Yes, sir.
It's a busy place. Thanks for choosing us.
Yes, sir. Always good seeing you, Dana. And thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you. Thanks, guys.